everyone, welcome back for the third part of what foods make up our nutrition. So we've already talked about carbohydrates, fats, and now we're going to move on to proteins. Proteins are anything that walked, crawled, swam, or flew at any point in time in its life, or maybe came from somebody or something that did. And so that's going to include all of your animal sources. So if you eat beef, seafood, pork, chicken, turkey, those are all acceptable sources. We live here in North Dakota, so hunting is a big pastime of everybody here. So deer, antelope are other types of proteins, buffalo that sometimes you will see here in our area as well. And those are all wonderful sources of protein. Animal sources of protein give us 9 essential amino acids that we don't make ourselves. So our body can make some amino acids, but it doesn't make all of them. And so when we say 9 essential amino acids, that essential means that we have to take them in through our food. And the best way to get those 9 amino acids are through animal sources of protein, as just described. There are some plant-based versions of proteins. Soy protein and pea protein are the only 2 plant proteins that give you all 9 essential amino acids. There are other plants that also have higher protein content, but they don't always have all 9 essential amino acids. And our body doesn't use plant proteins in the same way that it uses animal-based types of proteins. But if you're somebody who doesn't eat animal sources of protein and are more of a vegetarian, it is totally okay to get your protein sources through that soy or through those pea proteins. And you're going to get those amino acids that you're looking for. Protein does a body good, if you will. Protein does a number of things. It helps to keep us full and satisfied and non-hungry. When we eat a diet higher in carbohydrates, it spikes our insulin level. And when insulin goes up, it's got to come down once it's moved the sugar from the bloodstream into the cells for use. And usually about after an hour or 2 of eating a higher carb type of breakfast, for an example, like some toast with cereal and orange juice, you're going to be really, really hungry a couple of hours later because of that rise and fall of the insulin level. But if you ate a breakfast that is more protein based, like a couple of eggs with a slice of ham, all protein practically. And it's going to keep you more full and more satisfied because protein is a dense molecule. It takes a lot to break it down and to unravel those amino acids so that it can be then transported throughout our body, and those amino acids can go to the cells and do what they were meant to do for us. And so protein is going to stick with us longer, and you're not going to feel hungry a couple of hours later. You may not be hungry for several hours later. And that is totally okay because when we don't eat, we're not causing an insulin response. Protein also helps with muscle maintenance and muscle building. Muscle is important because muscle is our metabolism. The more muscle we have, the more body fat and calories we're going to burn because of the fact that the more cells there are, there's going to be more energy demand, so therefore more calories used. It helps out with the fat burning component because muscle cells, use the sugar for energy that we may be taking in, and as a result, insulin levels stay down, and when insulin is down, we're able to access and burn fat much more effectively. Muscle is also sexy, and it's strong, and it's lean, and it's more important to have more of that and improve our composition to have and maintain muscle mass than it is to necessarily worry about our weight. And that's going to be a whole nother little tidbit here when we talk about body mass index versus percent body fat, in that the body mass index really can be skewed for a lot of individuals due to the amount of muscle mass they have on their frame. the more muscle mass you have on your frame, the more protein that you're going to need to take in to sustain it. On average, the individual, how much protein should we take in? Should take in 0.6 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, or at for sure lean body weight that you have. And because a lot of times we don't know exactly how much lean body weight we have unless we had a fancy scale, I generalize and say 0.6 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. And so for women, that should be somewhere around 90 to 100 grams of protein a day. Men should aim for somewhere around 120 grams of protein a day. And it's going to help with that fat burning effect in another way because of the thermogenesis that it creates too. When your body is breaking down protein into its usable amino acids, it stimulates this whole biochemical process called thermogenesis. So you actually burn calories to break down the proteins that you ate. And so that whole philosophy that a calorie is a calorie, or that thought process behind calories is flawed because of that fact in general. You could take in a 400 calorie steak, but you may only absorb or use 350 calories as actual energy, because 50 calories of that steak were used to break it down into the essential amino acids that it needed to extract. And so there's again a number of different links on the science tab here. In particular, Dr. Jason Fung talks about why the science behind calorie is a calorie is so wrong. So protein is needed for thermogenesis, to help burn fat. It's there and needed to help maintain your existing muscle mass, and if you're looking to build muscle mass, it's essential for that. And it's going to keep you full and satisfied and keep those cravings down. Anytime somebody tells me, hey Nichole, I'm hungry, or I'm craving this, or I'm craving that, we usually crave foods that we're eating more of. Not that you're sitting around and you're eating ice cream all the time, and that's the reason why you're craving ice cream. You could be consuming more carbs in general, and that is what's triggering those cravings in general. But if you replaced a lot of the carbohydrate in your diet with more fats and proteins, in particular the proteins are going to help keep that craving factor down. You're going to be able to go longer periods of time without having to eat as frequently. So that's protein in a nutshell. Definitely important to have on board. Your favorite type of protein, go to it. There's nothing wrong with any particular types of proteins. Of course, those that are processed, like your deli meats and whatnot, obviously those are processed, hence processed, and we want to get back to that whole food concept again. And so making sure that you're taking those chicken breasts, you're chopping them up and making your own chicken nuggets out of them. That would be a much better way to consume chicken nuggets, if you will. And that can be said for other types of protein sources as well. So we're gonna move on to some other videos here. I hope you're finding all of this helpful. If you're looking for further information, again, check out the other links listed under the science tab.